Good
Ford.
evening, one and all. For don't worry, Al was caught off guard. Good evening, one and all. Hey, Rob, how's it going? See you out there on the in the chat room. Welcome, one and all, to to whatever this is. The guys in their 50s and 60s talking about the 70s and 80s, the retro podcast, and tonight's topic is going to be none other than fashion trends of the 70s and 80s. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and throw in the 60s too, because, I mean, we did grow up in the 60s. I had a good 5 years in the 60s. You had a good 10 years in the 60s. Yeah, we'll throw a little bit of that in today, particularly because a lot of the trends came from the 60s. But we'll be jumping back and forth in absolutely no particular order. So feel free to shout out. And good evening to our chat room out there. Good evening, Rob. Good evening, Chris. And I'll watch as people slowly jump in. I'll give them a couple minutes while I chase down my wolf down sandwich with a Diet Coke here.
Oh, yeah, I've got diet something in here too.
All right, so let's start, shall we? Now, I can't talk about anything without mentioning. I have to mention it first. It's one of those. This is one of those fashion trends that I gotta share a story. This is one of those fashion trends that just pops up every 10 or 20 years, no matter what. I remember I was in high school. It was probably 1981, 82. I was in junior year in 82, and I wore this. I bought this new tie and I was fascinated because this new tie just had a fantastic design on it. And I thought it was the newest thing in the world. It was called Paisley.
Paisley. Oh,
Paisley.
God.
Oh man. It didn't happen for a long time, but it happened in the early 80s. Paisley was popular for about 6 months or so. I get home. And I go, Mom, how do you like my new tie? It's the latest thing. She walks me into my dad's closet and she goes, how many do you want? He had like 12 Paisley ties. I didn't know whether to think it was the coolest thing in the world or oh crap, because Paisley was hot in the 50s. It was hot in the 60s. It made a comeback in the 90s. I mean, it's like, holy cow. It was just, it's one of those things. It's like, it's like an old shoe. It just can't. I don't know.
One thing I'm glad is that the trend didn't continue because we hardly even wear ties anymore.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, forget Paisley. And I'm so glad that we're so kicked back and relaxed and no ties, and especially being from corporate America.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Now, I can't think of the 70s without thinking of leisure suits.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those were, I mean, sad to say, happy to say, I would have to say happy to say that I was not, hang on a second, let me just make sure I don't have anything.
I had a green corduroy leisure suit. And I wanted it. A green corduroy
leisure suit. Whoa. That is some scary stuff.
I was styling. I was a fashion hound back then.
Oh boy. Yeah. See, me, I don't know. I let's see. What did I wear? Cowboy hat. But I was an anti-fashionista. I had boots and a cowboy hat, and I lived in Miami. We didn't wear in the 70s boots and a cowboy hat in Miami. I mean, Texas, you wear
Yeah.
them even now, but
Oh
no,
yeah.
not then, not
Not
then.
I. Not
How
I.
about how about the mood ring?
Oh yeah. That was
That
the
was
most
that was 75 when it came out.
precious thing in the world.
Everybody had a mood ring, you know. Everybody had a mood ring, and you would wear your mood ring, and and that's how you would know 100% with 100% certainty if a girl liked you, right?
Right.
At
Right.
least that's certainly what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot pants, and how about you remember the Nair commercial? We
Yep.
wear short
Short
shorts.
shorts. Yes, yes,
If
yes.
you dare wear short shorts, Nair for short shorts. Yeah, short shorts were something else. And yeah, I mean, I'll never forget watching Three's Company, and and that's about the time it hit. You know, Suzanne Summers
And some, yes.
and Suzanne, what's her face? I forgot her name. I
I
forgot her name.
forgot her name too.
My mind went blank. Someone will remind us out in the thing. But all of them basically wearing the shortest of shorts, and well, back then even Jack Tripper. I mean Jack
Joyce DeWitt.
Joyce DeWitt. Thank you, Joyce
Yes.
DeWitt. And let's see. Rob grew up in comment from our for those of you listening in the audio podcast, a comment from our live gang here. Rob Schuster grew up in Wyoming and refused to wear boots and a cowboy hat. What a trip and a half. Yeah, I hear you, Chris. Ties every day and Sundays are being a job requirement. That was something else. It's kind of funny now that you mentioned. I'll do a little tiny segue here, but speaking of fashion related, I when I first joined a business networking group, and was really heavy duty into it. I mean, growing my business back in the early days. Um, I was already extremely comfortable wearing shorts. I had polo shirt with my Speedy Signs and engraving logo engraved on it, and black shorts, and that was my uniform. I mean, I'm out and about, you know, either wrapping cars or doing windows or a sign shop. It was a sign shop and an award shop, and I was out there, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm in all these chamber of commerce meetings, and you know, it was so funny because I I know exactly what if I look back at all the pictures, I know exactly what year it was because the first year I was wearing shorts and a polo shirt. Next year I was wearing pants and a polo shirt. The following year I was wearing pants and an embroidered long sleeve dress shirt. The following year after that I had actually had a tie. And the year after that, it was all suits. I got 17 suits still in the closet from those days. And I'll tell you right now, just as a comment for all of you guys out there, speaking of fashion, we may not like it. We may be comfortable with t-shirts and shorts, but when
Hmm.
it comes to professionalism in the
Right.
business world, bottom line is, you know, you dress for success. It's
Yes.
that simple.
Agreed.
I mean, anyone can argue all they want, but the fact remains, you know, perception is reality, my friends. So, speaking of perception, what kind of perception was going on when people from the 70s decided that they had to design a bell bottom?
I I know that they were wide. Maybe it was a drug induced hallucinogenic thing that was like, yeah, man, we've got to have these big bottom pants. Maybe it was because the platform shoes that they
That's
wore
I was
underneath them.
just about to get
You
into
know,
platform
maybe
shoes,
that was it.
and some of those were 22 feet,
Yeah,
26 inches, 24, 26 inches. Some of those bell bottoms, it's ridiculous. And the platform shoes,
yeah.
Oh my God, that was
I
just
was 7 feet tall between my platform shoes and my afro.
yep, yep. And one trend that I am so thankful for in the 70s was in the 60s, with women's lib and with all the independence and all that, women started cutting their hair shorter and shorter and shorter. And I am so glad that long hair came back in the
Mhm,
70s.
mhm.
Well, for women, then I'm not so happy. Well, I'm also happy that it came back for men because yes, I had a teja mullet, if you
I
will.
had a bullet too.
Although a teja is not exactly a mullet, but it's pretty damn close. Yeah, I did. I did have. I wonder. I wish I could find a picture of myself with a mullet, but I remember those
What
days.
what was it called? Business on the side, party in the back, or something?
Yeah, I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. Those are some of those trends that you look back at them now,
Yeah.
and I miss the mullet only because I miss my hair. But I will. I am there. There's certain things that I am embarrassed by. See,
I'll,
disco. I'm not embarrassed by
I'll
disco.
show you here.
I love the fact that I love disco. I know there's a lot of people out there who's just embarrassed that they ever liked disco, but I think of it with very fond nostalgia. However, when it comes to certain hairstyles, no, no, I'll pass. You know, and do you remember when everybody was wearing "Have a Nice Day" shirts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll have any type of day I want.
Yeah.
With the
Everybody
big
was
smiley, with the big
with the big
smiley on it.
smiley face, with the big
Yeah,
smiley face. It was just
big
incredible.
smiley.
And that was the time when and I mean I lived through it, and I know I remember my parents. Uh, well, they didn't really care too much. But my grandparents certainly did about men and women dressing like women and men.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, as far as unisex clothing,
Hmm.
and I remember my grandparents, they're very very staunch conservative, and they're going, no, no, women should dress like women and men should dress like men. And me, I couldn't care less. I mean, I I would basically dress as comfortable as I wanted, and I would hope that women wanted to wear whatever comfortable clothes they wanted to wear. I mean, it wouldn't make any difference, really. At least we were brought up that way. We were brought up uh, with that it didn't matter. I mean, obviously, formally is a different. But even then, even formal wear. I mean, back in the 70s, um, women would wear leisure suits. Men would wear leisure suits. Women would wear leisure
Yeah.
suits. I can't. It's I get so tongue tied with
It
that.
was business wear. It was, yeah.
It was
I remember
yeah.
I remember in high school in like 78, the IBM service rep was a lady.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in this business suit that was pinstripe blue, which I love pinstripe blue business
Uh huh.
attire. Um, but it looked like unisex.
Mm-hmm.
She was wearing this.
Well, you remember the controversy with. Well, it wasn't much of a controversy, but I guess it was back then in the '60s with Mary Tyler Moore with during in the Dick Van Dyke Show that when she wore capri pants,
Hmm.
and they didn't like her wearing capri pants.
Yeah, she
You know,
showed her calves.
oh my
Oh
goodness. Oh,
goodness.
and Barbara Eden.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
Barbara Eden couldn't show her belly
With,
button on
with the
TV.
midriff, yeah. The
I
yes.
mean, some of those things were just absolutely ridiculous. Then again, that wasn't much of a fashion style, wearing a harem dress. I mean,
No, but
the whole entire dress was. But I'll tell you that we had some great fashion trends um, in the 70s, and some of them, I mean, still to this day. Um, I
I,
mean,
I think I think
mhm.
one of them, and going back to your short shorts comment, was
Yeah,
Daisy Dukes, and it even took the name on.
Oh yeah, Daisy Dukes, cut off jeans, down to shorts jeans or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, cut off shorts is really what they were.
Yeah. Now, how about the scarves around the head, like Rhoda and I mean, well, I remember Rhoda mostly because the show Rhoda, she always wore a scarf around the head. But I mean, even that's even a trend now. I mean,
yeah, I didn't do much of scarf wearing.
Well, neither did I. But you know, what was it? Who is it? Brett, the guy, the singer from. Oh my God, he's always wearing a headdress. I forgot what his name is. Brett something or other. Someone will remind me down there. But I'm trying to see if I can pull up some more styles, because some of them are very different. I mean, difficult. You know, pearls were huge. I mean, not that I would wear pearls, but for women, I remember vividly. You know, now everybody goes diamonds are a girl's best friend and all that, but back when I was young, just about every girlfriend I had, you know, you'd give them either pearl earrings or pearl necklace or pearl. It was the thing. It was and a lot of people wore it around there. Let me see. I'm trying to think of some other.
Bret Michaels, is that the one you were talking about?
Michaels, thank you. Yeah. Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. Let me see what else we got on here. Can you remember anything, or anybody out there remember some fashion trends? Now, one of them that I remember quite fondly is when I was in high school, the jeans were, oh my God. You had the Sergio Valiente jeans.
Designer jeans.
Designer jeans. You had Gloria Vanderbilt had jeans. Good old Anderson Cooper's mom. You had let's see, Sassoon. Oh, ooh la la Sassoon.
Right.
Let me tell you, I remember there was a trend with, speaking of Sassoon, that and there's a few of my classmates that remember this, but not that many. You know, I can only call them baseball T-shirts is the only thing I know. And I've mentioned this before. The sleeve doesn't go quite all the way down, but it's not a regular short sleeve. It goes past the elbow, but not quite up to the wrist. That half sleeve, as I like to call it, and the sleeve was a different color than the uniform. And if you pull up, let me see if I can pull up Ooh La La Sassoon. Hang on. It helps if I actually type it on the proper keyboard. I've got 3 different computers going on here, and Ooh La La Sassoon. Here we go. And the jeans commercial for 1982. Let me see if they have the jeans and activewear. Let me see what we got here. I'm gonna mute this because I don't want to.
Okay, I've got to show this. This is a little bit of, oh, you can't see it. Bummer.
Go ahead.
What in the background?
Yeah.
There's the big glasses. That's fashion.
Aviator style glasses.
Yes.
There's a perfect one.
Yes.
There's one
there's definitely one.
Oh, what's more, because of chips and because of all those shows, the mirrored aviator glasses.
Right.
Ray-Bans and the mirrored aviator glasses. Those were huge. I'm glad you reminded me of that. There's another big trend.
Mark Lindsay's signature glasses.
Mark Lindsay's signature glasses. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, a friend of ours, Mark Lindsay, to this day wears aviator style glasses, as a lot of people do, but still do. But he is just known for it. But yeah, I cannot find. I mean, I could find Ooh La La Sassoon commercials everywhere, but I cannot find the Ooh La La shirt. But anyway, there was. I'll see if I'll keep searching for it. In the meantime, um, so that's because I keep spelling it Sassoon instead of Sasson.
Like seasoning, sazon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, so here's what happened with our school. Our school had we had our school motto was the Sabres, right? So as in saber-toothed tiger. So we were the Sabres in our high school, and someone had the you could call it genius if you want. I don't know. I don't know if I
Genius.
would to create a shirt exactly like the Ooh La La Sassoon, but instead it was Ooh La La Sabres. And the Ooh La La, and it said Ooh La La Sabres in the front, and it was the half shirt. It was not the long sleeve, it was not the short sleeve, it was in between. That was circa 1983, along with the Ooh La La shirts. We had our own version of it for our school. And I'll tell you, I mean, the in thing back then. Good evening, Matt. Good to see you. The in thing back then was the bluer the jeans, the better. Forget
Right.
those faded jeans. It was designer jeans.
Right.
It was blue, blue, blue. I mean, oh, you remember the what was the movie? Urban Cowboy, was it?
Mhm.
Didn't John Travolta wear?
With the stitching on the back pocket, the
Yeah.
embroidery on the back pocket. That was the neat thing.
Okay, so let me share. Let me share since I got the thing here. Give me a sec. I'm gonna pop up the. There we go. All right, so take a look at this. Is the type of shirt that I'm talking about. As seen on as one Cool in the Gang. This is the Cool in the Gang shirt.
Cool
So,
in the game.
but I was still looking for that Sassoon shirt, but I can't seem to find it. But look at that shirt. Look at this one here. Levi's. Oh, speaking of Levi's is just well, they've been everywhere. Ooh
You
la
know, one
la
thing.
la. I mean, everybody was wearing these. Look at this. Look at this over here. I'm telling you, all I got to do is pull up. This is the Sears catalog, and the Pac-Man shirt. These shirts were the thing,
And
and
very, very colorful. Notice
yeah,
the colors. And by colors, they would even tie-dye the
yeah.
colors in, and the shirts would have swirls in them and stuff.
It was absolutely incredible. So, anyways, that's one of the shirts that I remember from the from the times. And let's see, what else do we have? What else do we have on our? Let me see. We took care of hats. Hats. Let me see. Any funny shapes in hats? I don't think so. No, not that I remember. Eyewear.
I don't remember
Definitely the
hats.
definitely the. How about watches? Now I'm not going to get too much
Yes, yes,
into the watches technology
yes.
because that the 70s were the times where we were wearing our digital watches. But
But also the leather bands
the
with
leather bands.
the watches on them, and they were like a leather band. And it
Yep.
looked almost like a belt with three
Yep.
buckles on it, and you.
That's
That's what I
right.
remember.
That's right. I'll
Hmm.
tell you one thing that I wore. I was a uber nerd when it came to this, and a friend of mine, Carlos, and I would wear the swatch. Oh, I am definitely going back. Thank you, Joe. Um, one of the things that I used to wear is this is kind of not really a fashion thing, but it was for me. I had a lot of keys on my keychain, and one
I
of the
still do.
things,
I
one of
still
the
do.
things that I love was the retractable keychain. That
Yes,
one came out in the 70s, and
yes.
I'd carry it around, I'd clip it on my belt, and I'd swing it like a yo-yo. I mean, it was fan. I had it I had a really rugged one, and it was so balanced. I'd be playing with it all throughout school and stuff. So now let's get back into watches, because both Matt and Joe have got some great mentions there. Obviously, the Swatch. The Swatch is one of the quintessential ones. Let's go back a little bit more before I get to Matt's. Let's go back a little bit more, because I'd like to touch upon the teeter-totter. Did you have a teeter-totter as a kid? Hey, Al?
I had one at the playground.
I loved the teeter-totter. Teeter-totter, teeter-totter, wonderful watch you watch for hours. It's the joy, it's a wonderful thing.
No, the one watch that I remember is the Disney Mickey Mouse watch from the 70s.
The Mickey Mouse watch is quintessential. Even now, that never loses class or style.
But I remember it coming into
see the teeter-totter. I'll never forget, the teeter-totter came in red, yellow, and blue, and the top half was plastic. Let me see if I could pull up a teeter-totter on the thing, because now this is just. Hang on a second.
Yeah, it looked like a little bubble with the little teeter-totter in the center, or up underneath it with the little kids on each side. Yeah. Now that you mention it.
Hang on.
Ain't Google grand?
Google is grand. Yeah, so, folks, for those of you who don't remember teeter-totter, hang on a second.
I don't remember.
Let me put. I had 3 of them. Then again, I was an extremely spoiled kid. What happened here? Oh, sorry. Just going back to there we go. So, teeter-totter watches. I mean, this is basically, let me see if I can get a good image of one. There you go. It was the simplest thing you could possibly imagine, but it was fantastic. It was some gears. It was 2 guys. It was 2 kids on a teeter-totter, and hey,
they only want $100 for it.
Yeah, I'll pass. I'm not that crazy about it.
Plastic too. Oh my goodness.
Oh, completely plastic. Completely plastic. It was a kid's toy. Yeah. Kid's toy. So so now moving on from the teeter-totter, we'll go with Joe there with the Swatch. That Swatch. Oh my God, the Swatches.
Yeah, I remember the Swatch more than the teeter-totter.
Yeah, I remember them both, but the Swatch watch, I mean, I'll never forget. We had so many different. For those of you who don't remember what the Swatch looked like, here you go. This is one of many different models. I mean, this is basically in fact, Swatch is still around. I guess they've reloaded and stuff. $80. Wow. Yeah. Well, they were expensive, but Swatch was a fantastic. It was a fad. It was a complete fad, is what it was.
Total fad.
And then, of course, and now I'm with Matt on this one. I am complete. Matt Haas. For those of you who listening out there in the audio podcast, got a friend of ours here in the audience with Awesome Wood Things, Matt Haas, and the YouTube show. See, he always wears. He's got a white G-Shock, and he loves that G-Shock. And I'll tell you what, I've got 3 or 4 G-Shocks. I'm a closet G-Shock guy. That's because I wear my, well, right now it's charging, but I wear my Fitbit. But for the most part, and for years, it's always been G-Shock. It's either been the one with the altitude if I'm going climbing. It's been the one. It's been the one with the temperature if I'm going someplace cold. It's been El Classic G-Shock. That watch, and the reason I have probably close to 5 speaking of watches from the 70s and 80s, I could remember vividly going from the digital watch, the digital LED watch where you press the button and the LEDs light up, only lasted about a month because either the battery failed or one of the LEDs burned out on the watch, if you can remember that. These are the kinds, this is not LCD or LED of these days, folks. These are LEDs that you had a battery and you had just so much time, you had to press the button in order for it to light.
Yes. Yes.
Those were, I mean, classic. And I
Yes.
still remember my first, prior to the G-Shock, my first underwater diving watch with the
Ooh,
little
yeah.
bezel and stuff. Back then, they didn't make that many different kinds. It was just a simple underwater watch. I don't know, probably a Timex or a Hewler or something like that, but down to 30 meters. And so basically 100-foot watch, and with the radioactive glow in the dark dials. Remember that?
Yes.
None of them had
the radioactive glow
the
dial.
radioactive glow
Yes.
dials. They
Oh
had,
my goodness.
yeah.
Talk
And then
about
that's
yeah.
before that. The G-Shock to me was the most fascinating watch in the world because at the bottom of it, you would press it and it would light the entire watch with this beautiful, beautiful glow.
Mhm.
I mean, and the reason, getting back to my first statement, the reason I have so many G-Shocks now is because while I have pulverized, destroyed, broken every other watch I've ever owned, I
There's
have
three.
yet to break a G-Shock. I've yet to break the glass. I've yet to break the occasional strap will wear out and I'll get a new strap. Yet to break a G-Shock. Those things are fantastic. And yeah, and they came in and they still sell them to this day. I mean, it's that good. Casio's incredible. So let's see.
I'm
Now
looking at prices on G-Shocks anywhere from $99 to $1,300.
incredible. I mean the what they've come to. Okay, so we've talked watches, we've talked sunglasses. Now I can't think of any other styles of sunglasses. We've talked jeans, bell bottoms and otherwise. Has there been any change in now? Okay, let's talk materials. You mentioned the corduroy leisure suit.
Mm-hmm.
I had some Ocean Pacific OP. I had a whole series of colors of OP shorts. I used to love those shorts. In fact, to this day, I've got a friend of mine. Um, oh God, Ross and Yvonne. Yvonne used to threaten. We were all close friends and stuff. She used to threaten that she was going to throw away the shorts because I wore them well past their prime, well into the 90s. Those stupid little shorts, and I loved them. I was crazy about. Oh, back then it was back then I was a size 29 and a size 30, so not
Yeah.
the. I
Same
grew into
here,
my 40.
actually.
I grew into my 42 rather quickly. But anyway, but yeah, parachute pants. There's another one. There's another one. Parachute pants. Because
Yeah.
MC Hammer came out in the 80s. Definitely. Definitely. Oh my God. Yeah, see, those are the kind of things I don't really like to think about. Because, well, one, I never wore them. Two, I was always, there's certain trends that you're embarrassed if you were ever a part of, and certain ones like the corduroy shorts or a corduroy jacket and stuff, partially embarrassed. But there's others that you wouldn't wear them for to save your life, and for me, parachute pants just I they never struck a chord with me. Never struck a chord. Now, Indiglo. I'm trying to remember the Indiglo. Wasn't that 90s? Let me see.
How come I don't see Matt out there? I I looked.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because go to the comments in the in your StreamYard. He's on Facebook instead of YouTube.
Okay, that's why. That's why. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why. Yeah,
I'm watching on YouTube, and
yeah.
I don't see him. That makes sense. That makes
The
sense.
Indiglo. Yeah,
While
yep.
you're looking for that, I wanted to point out
Now I remember the Indiglo. Yeah, yeah.
we had
Uh-huh.
nylon shirts back then, and that was a fad
There
or a
you
fashion,
go.
I guess.
Polyester.
Nylon
Oh
shirts.
my!
Polyester. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
for reminding me of the
Yes.
polyester. Oh
Big old
goodness gracious!
collars. Big old collars.
You
Some
would.
people had pinholes,
Yep.
burns on their shirt.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I was a danceaholic,
Yeah.
and I was a strange kid because up until eighth grade, in sixth grade, that's usually around our time where all the kids started dancing. I was an extremely late bloomer. I didn't know how to dance. Uh, I started learning around eighth grade, but let's put it this way: in my eighth grade, one of my eighth grade dances with the girl I had a crush on for like God knows how many years when I was a kid, that first puppy love thing. I had my first slow dance, and I overanalyzed and stressed over it like you would
Imagine
not
that.
believe. Like you would not believe. I stressed over this. I analyzed how to dance a slow dance. All
You
it
would be.
is hold a girl and rock back left and right. That's it. I
That's
mean,
it.
it's that simple now, but back then, I'm a little kid. I didn't know. And oh, don't get me started on disco dancing. Again, same thing, left and right. You're just apart from the girl and you do anything you want. Everybody kept on telling me the same thing. Do anything. It doesn't matter. You could look like we're dancing. Who cares? Nothing. No, it wouldn't. I had to do it correctly. And so I spent 2 years studying how to dance correctly to no avail because it turns out that even after all of that, I would still dance incorrectly. Well, anyway, the point is, I was, sometimes with late bloomers, you just like overcompensate, and that's what happened with me. I was after a while, I became known in eighth grade and ninth grade, even at the school dances. See, when we were younger, for those of you listening who are quite young, or a lot younger than us, basically under 40.
That's young, yes.
Yeah, when we were young, there weren't many things to do. There wasn't the YouTube, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't the heck. I mean, you if you wanted to make a phone call, you had to wait your turn in line because there wasn't
Right.
even call waiting.
Right.
So, but what there was a lot of dances, at least for me. We'd always chaperone. We'd go to a friend's house and stuff, or a school dance, or a church dance that was still chaperoned, but a lot less so. And either dances or the movies. That's it. That's all we had: dances, movies, or playing outside with the neighborhood kids. That was our entertainment for years. Well, I became this dancing fool. I mean, that song had to be written about me because I loved, once I learned how, I enjoyed it so much that at every dance, everybody would invite me to a dance because I was the icebreaker. No one, you know how
Yeah.
you got in seventh and eighth grade, you've got these kids, you've got all the girls sitting on one side and all the boys sitting on the other side. Until that first boy asks that first girl to dance, no one will dance. They'll be sitting around music. Come on, man. The parents are trying to drag them. Nothing until I came in. And then all of a sudden, it was like, as soon as I'd walk through the door, I'd grab a girl and I'd start dancing. Now, once or twice, they would say no because they didn't want to be the first ones. But most of the time, I knew who to pick that wasn't embarrassed. And and the entire night from then on, from 8 p.m. till like 2 in the morning, I was never off that dance floor. And And the beautiful thing was everybody joined in, so everybody was on the dance floor. Well, the disco years, and a guy with a lot of glands tends to perspirate, tends to perspire quite a bit, and nothing was worse
Yeah.
than those polyester shirts.
Yes. Yes. Oh, exactly.
They would stick to you like a second
Oh,
skin, and a
God.
very uncomfortable one,
Oh, good Lord.
for years. It's like I'd be the guy either on the dance floor, or when I knew there was a slow set of slow. I missed the first slow song because I was so embarrassed by just being drenched. Although I enjoyed it, I wouldn't stop. That I would basically be over in the corner by the fan,
Yeah. Pulling off.
catching my death of cold. But you know,
Yes.
but polyester, that was a trend that
Yeah.
I mean, love it or not,
And you had to have the wide lapels on the polyester shirt.
you
You had to
had to
have the
have
wide
the wide
lapels.
lapels. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, so many. You want to talk anti-fashionista. I don't remember where it was. It might have been Saturday Night Fever. It might have been and John Travolta. I don't remember where I saw it, but I saw that they turned up the wide lapels. And ever since I saw
Yeah.
somebody do
Yeah.
that
They
once,
flipped it up. Yes. Yeah, I think
ever
it was
since I
Sunday
saw
night.
somebody do that, it was a fad for a very short time. Not with me. There's no such thing as a fad for a short time.
Do you
I'm
still
the
wear your
guy.
collars up?
I'm the guy. This is something you'll appreciate as a Trekkie. In the 70's, one of the fashion trends, well, only
It was
amongst
long pop.
Trekkies though, is, well, actually no, because it came out in 77, 79, the motion picture.
Yeah.
I'll never forget looking at William Shatner's sideburns, going,
Yes.
that is the coolest thing I've
Yes.
ever seen in my life. And for about 10 to 15 years after that, I had chiseled
Oh my
sideburns
God.
and long 70's chiseled sideburns. I didn't quite have the mutton chops, but it was it was, let me tell you, there's another trend that was quite fun to relive. Good evening, Steve. Good to see you out here. And let's see, did I miss it? Well, Michael King came in earlier. Good to see you guys.
It's
Thanks
Batman.
for thanks for joining in on the show. Middle school kids should never dance Stairway to Heaven. The tempo ramps up slowly, and you don't know. Yep, switch from slow dancing to fast dancing. That's something yeah, that's something that I there was a Last Dance from Last Dance for yes, it's your last chance for romance tonight. That song probably fooled more kids than anything, because in the beginning it's a nice, slow, leisurely song, and if you didn't know that song, you know, last chance for romance, and then all of a sudden it was like, you're asking a girl for a slow dance. You're looking forward to a slow dance with a girl. All of a sudden, everybody separates and starts dancing disco. If you're
Yeah.
the guy that did not know how to dance disco, that's it.
Forget it.
You're
Yeah. You're.
you're done.
Yep. Yep.
All right, so we've talked watches, we've talked sunglasses, we've talked sideburn hairstyles, we've talked hairstyles. Let's see.
The fro was my favorite hairstyle
The
of the 70s.
fro. The fro
Yeah.
was that was something else.
I used to use a cake cutter on my hair, and my hair went out literally 6 inches out on both sides.
I
That
would
image,
love to see that.
that image,
You gotta yank out an old
well,
picture of yourself.
that image that I had up, I can actually bring a better image up, but that image that I had up of those
Yeah.
glasses was
Yeah.
me. It just,
Oh,
you couldn't see
that
it.
was you. No, I did
Yeah.
see it. I did
Yes.
see it. Yeah,
You
pop it
did
back
see
up
it.
there. That was
Let me,
hilarious. Yeah,
let
yeah,
me
yeah.
find it again. Hold on.
Absolutely.
I guess it's in my pictures directory, but of course,
Yeah, but I'll tell you,
no.
froze were interesting. See, for me, I had the straightest, flattest hair, and it was kind of funny actually. You reminded me of another story. I had a buddy of mine who would laugh because uh, I would he would hang out with me, and whether it was with girls or guys that I just met for the first time, they'd say Javi's hair is the most fascinating thing in the world. Hang on a second, let me just there we go. Holy cow!
That is
Uh,
me.
that is no, that's Howard Stern. That's not you. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. That is
I even
something
had a little
else.
little peach fuzz up underneath here. That's before
Yep,
I started
yep.
wearing a mustache.
That's
Uh,
funny. That is hilarious. That is something else. Man perms. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I
Chris,
have
man perms. Bad idea.
a wide collar shirt that's
Yep, yep.
polyester.
But I'll tell you, the I would go with hang out with this friend of mine, and he would when he'd introduce me to people, he goes, "Here's Javi. You want to see what I can do to his hair?" And I go, and every time he said that, it was like it was semi embarrassing, but I played along every time. And I had a hairstyle. It wasn't quite like Mo, but it was imagine Mo, and then but my hair was divided to the side. I was it was basically very much like, oh God, what is the young kids in the Partridge Family that anyways, those hairstyles of the 70's, just like mop top, like the Beatles type of hairstyle, but instead of straight bowl cut, it would just be down to but mine was like even in the middle and divided on the side. Sometime and then for a while there, I started parting it on the left and was parted to the side. Well, the one thing that because my hair was so thin and so straight, my friend would go like this. He'd mess my hair up. I mean, completely mess it up, where it looked not quite Albert Einsteinish, but kind of like that. And I would just go, I just shake my head. In a second, it would just all fall back into place. It was the funniest little phenomenon that my friend really, really got a kick out of it every time I did it. And apparently so did everybody else, because they kept on trying it. Maybe so many years of so many people trying to mess with my hair, and that's why, well, I don't have any now.
I have to, since you're talking about hair,
Yeah.
I have to say, in the 70's, who can forget the Farrah Fawcett hairstyle?
There you
That
go.
every girl that I knew wanted
Yes.
to
Yes.
imitate. I mean, that was the hairstyle.
feathered and layered
Yes.
hairstyles. I was talking about earlier about the long hair, but you're absolutely right.
Yes.
That was part of the 70's.
Mhm.
That was with Farrah Fawcett. Everybody had to
Yep,
have that layered hairstyle.
exactly.
That layered hairstyle from Farrah Fawcett and all. Let me see.
Yep.
Let me see if I pull up
Feathered
another one
like
here.
Farrah Fawcett.
What's that?
Feathered like Farrah Fawcett. Yes.
Feathered like Farrah Fawcett.
The only way to put that.
Yep. I mean that was it. That was it in a nutshell. Yeah. Yeah. Bell bottoms. Let me see. Oh, bell sleeves were also pretty popular too.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. In fact, there's a bell sleeve right there. Right there.
There you go. There you go.
There's a bell sleeve right there.
Absolutely.
Oh, I can't.
Hey, how about clogs? Did you ever have clogs?
Well,
They were
no.
popular for a bit.
Yeah, there's people that still have clogs, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still around. They're still around.
I mean, because I know now every time I think of clogs, I don't think of clogs. I think of what's that plastic one? Crocs.
Crocs. Yeah.
And I don't know, for one reason or another, they get a little mixed up in my head. I'm trying to read the comments as we go along. Tie dyes. Now that was a big thing. I mean, you've got them
Big,
right behind you. Just reminded me tie dye.
big thing.
Granted,
Yeah.
I want to say it was more 60's, but really, it was big in the 70's.
Oh yeah,
I
it
had
was.
I mean, I remember vividly going to the fairs, and they would give you a blank T-shirt.
Right?
They'd stick it in a spinner, and you get to make your own tie-dye T-shirt. You just have at it with the ink. Then you go, and it splurred all over. They would dunk it. They would dry some of it, and then they would dunk it so it would run, and then they'd stick it in an iron. And guess what? You just made your own tie-dye T-shirt.
Yes.
Oh man.
One thing that started in the 70s also were dreadlocks with Bob Marley, strong in the Jamaican and Rastafarian influence of the time. That was something that started to catch following, I guess.
One thing that I never thought about is also army clothes. Army clothes.
Oh yeah.
Up until the 70s,
Yeah.
they weren't. I mean, the Vietnam vets, obviously, when they came back in the 60s, they started. Well, basically, they kind of started a trend. People started wearing, army fatigues, camouflage.
Yeah, fatigues, yeah.
As a fashion.
Jackets.
I mean, now it's
Army boots.
It's a comfortable fashion trend.
Yeah.
Is what it is. But.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends that would actually their attire was army attire. They'd go to the army, surplus store, and they'd buy, green fatigues and wear army boots, and that was their attire. It was interesting.
One of the things also that I was thinking about. I mean, this is not too much, but the hippie costumes. I mean, granted, they were more in the 60s and the 70s, but there were a lot of them that came out. Like, I don't know. I always seem to remember in my youth a bunch of girls dressing up like American Indian wannabes. The American Indians didn't dress up like that, but they had these leather shirts with fringe, with leather strip fringe and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had and they were leather ties. The ties were with leather. And I mean, for a while in the 70s, I enjoyed. I personally I had some collarless shirts that I really enjoyed. One trend that I wish would have caught on, but never did, is
what's that?
Okay, this is definitely gonna geekify me, but I'm a big, well, amongst other things, a Babylon 5 fan.
Yes.
Bruce Boxleitner, and everybody in Babylon 5, their shirts were collarless shirts, kind of like Priest would wear, but but instead of having a hole for the collar, it was just a button on the top.
Yes, yes.
I always thought, and for a while in the 80s, I bought a whole slew of those shirts. I would wear them all the time. Again, an anti-fashionista. I wore what I thought was really cool looking, and to this day, if I go out, I would love to have one of those shirts to go out in.
It was futuristic, yes. I remember in Space 1999.
Space 1999,
which was a show that obviously, of the 70s.
For those of you who don't remember, and by the way, we will be mentioning these shows on another podcast. Space 1999 was a show from the 80s, talking about September 13th, 1999, when Martin Landau and Barbara Bain, amongst others, basically, there was a nuclear accident. Wore those shirts. There was a nuclear accident, and the moon was blown away from the orbit of the Earth in the most fake and scienceless, pure sci-fi, because there was nothing fact about it, show. But I quite enjoyed it. Shame it was only on for 2 years.
Eagle 1 and Eagle 2, they were just.
I was just reminded that Whoopi Goldberg wears these little round glasses all the time.
Right, correct. But
and that is a trend from the 70s. Those little round, like John Lennon glasses.
I thought
you could call them Elton John glasses.
Yeah, I thought they were 60-ish, but I guess they are 70s.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean, they're both. They're because circle glasses were normal in the 60s because there weren't many shapes you can make back then other than a circle. But with technology the way it is, everybody was wearing aviator glasses in the
right.
70s, and well, you would choose the circular glasses. Oh, and here's a trend that to this day, to this day, is still a trend. So I'll mention one. I'll mention one. See if you can come up with any other. Converse sneakers.
Oh,
Converse
you
high
just
tops.
stole it. That right there was the biggest craze in the 70s that I remember.
Converse was the
Mhm.
biggest craze
High
in the
tops.
70s.
High
High
tops.
tops.
High
Converse high
tops.
tops.
Yep.
Converse high tops was it. That
Yep.
was it for sneaker wear.
Yep.
Oh,
I never owned a pair.
how about this? Penny loafers, or rather Dockers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
remember
Penny loafers.
Topsiders? Topsiders. Remember Topsiders?
Hmm.
I mean, those were they
That you
were penny
bought at
loafers.
that you
Huh?
bought at Tom McCann's.
That you bought at Tom McCann or Kinney Shoes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Those were some great things. And then obviously sequins. I mean, Elvis was still, big in the 70s, and there's nothing like sequins. How about this? Because this was pretty popular. I am so glad I was not one of these guys. But at least in Miami, one of the things that was popular, tell me you weren't one of these guys, Al, is the Cubans and, well, actually, a lot of
Lay it on me.
everybody, gold chains.
No, never was. Never was with the
Oh, God, I couldn't stand. I mean,
the big gold chains. No, never have been a gold chain. But
I had one or two girlfriends that gave me a gold bracelet and I had to wear and stuff. So I was sporting a bracelet every now and then, fake gold. But I got to tell you, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand
yeah,
jewelry of any kind.
yeah.
I can't stand jewelry on a guy. It's just weird.
I attributed it to the Cuban community. I really did.
That was a large part of it, but I
Yeah,
gotta say, around
really,
the country, I mean, Mr. T. I mean,
but yeah,
around
right,
the country,
right,
around
right.
the country, it wasn't just cute; it was everybody.
And especially in the disco scene, because I remember now that you say that,
Yes.
the chains with the
Well, look at Disco Stew from
yeah, yeah,
The Simpsons. I mean,
yeah.
they've got the
And Mr. T says it all.
yeah. Yeah, Mr. T says it all. That man is and you know what? I'm going to give a shout out to Mr.
I
T
pity the fool
because
that's not wearing a gold necklace.
I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. T. Because that man, I was extreme. I used to love the A Team so much so that I actually dressed up as Mr. T. Yeah, back in the days when
Wait,
blackface was
you can get in trouble for this now.
yeah, you can get in trouble for it now. It's like, but I was 15 years old and I was completely oblivious to anything like that.
Yeah.
And it was in mixed company and they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Rather mixed. I mean, it was mixed races party, and I had no clue whatsoever. I wore a cap with the mohawk on it,
With the mohawk,
and I bought every cheap chain that I could
gold
possibly
chain that
find.
you can get your hands on, or
Oh,
that you
yeah,
can
yeah,
get your neck through. Huh?
I wore it for Halloween. Everybody was wearing Mr. T for Halloween that year. Everybody.
Yeah.
White,
yeah.
black,
Yeah,
I don't care what color you were. Everybody was dressing up like Mr.
T was very popular. Very,
I'll
very.
tell you. But getting back to Mr. T, that man, I mean, he was, people know him as Barabbas in the A Team, and they know him as I Pity the Fool, and they know him as a big stereotype, or as the guy from Rocky. But look, this man.
Lawrence Turode?
I don't know his real name. I just know
Mr.
Mr. T, but I know him as I mean, I've heard it.
True.
I will say this: he has spent the majority or a great portion of his life giving to young kids. You know,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
the charities that he has constantly. Yeah, I mean, the man is just a jewel as far as that. That's the kind of inspiration that I wish everybody had. You know, in groves. But
Yeah.
and with that, I think I'll end it on that note because unless I can come up with one
We'll end it
last
on the A team.
final,
We'll end it with our A team.
we'll end it with our 18. All right, so I can't. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna talk purses because I don't know purses. So Chuck Connors Converse, yes. Chuck Connors Converse. Chuck Connors is another one. Man, he is like Chuck Connors and the one I always um this is the joke that has just gone on for ages ever since probably 80's is Chuck Norris. The Chuck Norris jokes. I mean, you're as tough as Chuck Norris. Chuck
Oh,
Norris
yeah.
is so tough, yada yada yada, that
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it was. I mean, and now it's down to the you can get Chuck Norris memes and this. So yeah, I can't see any more trends. I mean, there are a few of them here. This, but let me go ahead and advertise next week's show. So what we're going to be looking at next week, folks, for those of you who enjoy the retro podcasts. Bear with me as I pull it up.
I pity the fool that don't like the retro podcast.
I pity the fool indeed. Next week, we're done
Chuck
with fashion
Taylor.
trends. Next week is 70's and 80's video recording media.
I thought we did that. Cassettes.
I'm wondering. No, we did cassettes. We did music recording media. We did cassettes and CDs. We did not do video recording media.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
I mean,
right.
basically, next week will be the Beta Wars.
Yes, that's right.
Beta
Media.
VHS, and we'll
Yes.
discuss all about how that. In fact,
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a little. For those of you who don't remember, for those of you who do, I'll give you all next week a little a primer on what happened when with Sony and where and why why VHS basically took over. The secret to that next week on the Retro Podcast. That's guys in their 50s and 60s talking about the 70's and 80's.
And 80's. Yes.
Folks, have a wonderful week. See you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.